Dan Illman might be a race number 10 at Saratoga on Travers Saturday is the Grade 1 test. It's the signature race for 3-year-old filly sprinters. We're going 7/8 of a mile, and to Mike's dismay, there's no show wagering. But before we get to the analysis, head on over to the DRF Saratoga handicapping shop at drf.com/spa. PPs, picks, clock reports, betting strategies, and the must-have tools to win big at Saratoga. And why is there no show wagering? Well, let's take a look at the field. There's a name you're going to recognize, and that is Gamin, who is 3-5 on the morning line, coming off a spectacular 110 Beyer victory in the Acorn last time out, where she won by a city block.
Yeah, a big 110 Beyer in the Acorn last time. She's, finished first in all three of her starts and has looked really good in all of them, Dan. She's facing some good fillies in here. Don't get me wrong. This is actually a pretty good field for the test this year, but she is going to take a ton of beating. It's going to be a very short price.
She's going to be a very short price. She is yet to be headed in her career, and that's why I think this Timeform US Pace Projector is very important. Can she rate? Because I think Bob Babert's going to actually see if she is going to rate in here. I don't see them going after Wicked Whisper if Wicked Whisper decides to show the speed she showed as a 2-year-old. I think Venetian Harbor is going to be hard sent out of there. I don't think Venetian Harbor is coming up here to sit off a Gamin. I think she's going. And it's going to be interesting to see if this pace gets a little bit hotter than most people anticipate.
Yeah, I do agree that the way that they ride this race early is going to be very interesting, because I kind of do feel like that Gamin, I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do now. I sort of feel like Johnny V is going to make them come get her in this race. And we'll just see if anybody wants to race her. I don't know if they do. Maybe they do. If they're going to, the one thing about Baffert, Dan, is he doesn't send his horses to New York to run in Grade 1 dirt races and rate them. He just does not do it.
Number 1 is Up in Smoke. She's going to be rated. She's last on the Timeform US Pace Projector. She doesn't have a lot of speed. She's hoping that my scenario comes true and that there's a barbecue up front and she can pick up the pieces. In the Victory Ride, she did not have a lot of pace to run at. They basically ran 1-2 all the way around the track, but she was kind of one pace down on the inside. I think she's okay. I think she's solid. I think she catches a very tough Grade 1.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. Listen, maybe you're right though, and those 3 horses on the outside hook it up early, and it sets up the right way for Up in Smoke. Obviously, the Victory Ride didn't set up great for her. I also didn't think she did a ton of running in that race, and I just didn't think she was good enough to beat several of these horses.
Perfect Alibi was an excellent 2-year-old here last year. She swept through the Adirondack and the Spinaway. She looked like a mature, professional 2-year-old that might have had more maturity and more professionalism and more precocity than her contemporaries. And I think you have to wonder if they've started to catch up with her. Her one race this year, the Acorn, she was extremely wide all the way around the track. She had no chance the way Gamin ran. I would have liked to see her run a little better, even with the layoff.
Yeah, I agree with that. She didn't really do any running at all in that race, but I guess you don't have to hold it against her. She was a good 2-year-old, Dan. I liked her at Adirondack. I really liked her Spinaway. I thought she ran, really, really well that day. On the other hand, even when she was winning races as a 2-year-old, she was not fast, and she has not gotten faster so far as a 3-year-old. She's going to have to improve by a lot to be competitive here.
I like that Shug McGahee's putting the 3 Mrs. Danvers in here. She showed a lot of ability last year at 2. In her career debut, she must have broke 3 lengths slow as the favorite, then was 4 wide on the turn, and she ran a really good third with a nice gallop out. Unsurprisingly, she came back to win her next start. Shug wanted to run her in the Frisette. She came down with an ankle chip. She missed the rest of the year. I thought her seasonal debut behind stakes caliber older horse Indian Pride was good, and I was a little disappointed with this race. Going a mile last time out. Now, she didn't break well again. She's the gray horse on the outside, and she kind of just finishes in a one-paced fashion to be second, and it's not like that's an older horse beating her. Grand Cru Class is a 3-year-old. Here she is in the green silks, getting up into second. The gait's been an issue for her, but I think there's something here with this horse, and if the pace is fast, I think she can come with a surprising kick.
Yeah, I agree with that. I'm like you, I'm glad that Shug's running her in here because I think she's sort of interested in here. I think it's going to be really hard for her to win this race, but I can see her just sitting this thing out early, catching some pace to run at, and coming late in this race. Of all the horses outside of Gamin in here, I think she's the most interesting one.
Wicked Whisper, the number 4, was one of the more visually impressive debut winners at Saratoga last year. Didn't break very well. showed easy speed, got to the front, made them pay. In the Frizette, right to the front, impressive. Breeders' Cup Juvenile fillies, I'm not going to hold that race against her. They went wicked fast early. She couldn't make the front. Hey, the commanding 7/8 off the layoff, Mike, against a really sharp horse in 4 Graces, and she was pushing that pace throughout. Now, again, I would have liked to have seen her finish a little bit better, but I think she gains fitness from that race, and I think Ricardo Santana Jr. has to send.
Yeah, they probably do got to use her speed in here. It feels like her only chance. I will say, she didn't run great off the layoff. Asmussen, you tend to want his horses second off the layoff, not the first time back. I think she'll run better in here, Dan. I don't know if it'll be enough.
Let's watch Gamin's Acorn, just a tremendous performance. And again, you could argue this track was maybe a little inside speed favoring. All right, then she wouldn't have won by 100. She would have won by 50. We watch Gamin turning into the stretch, and it's just too easy. She wins very, very easily for fun under a hand ride. Again, a 110 buyer speaks for itself. She's been able to make the lead in all 3 of her races, and maybe she's just too fast for these horses. I think she's going to have to earn this test. I think she's going to be the deserving heavy favorite. She's way the horse to beat, but I think she's going to have to run a little bit.
Yeah, I would think she would have to run a little bit too. There are good horses in this race, and we'll just see. Maybe she comes back to earth a little bit, Dan. Maybe somebody really, really steps up and makes her and brings a really strong challenge for her in here. But based on the 3 races that she's run so far, there are good horses in here. She's better than them.
I think the turnback is just what the doctor ordered for the 6 Venetian Harbor, who ran really well as the beaten favorite in both the Fantasy and Ashland. She just caught 2 of the better 3-year-old fillies in the country, Swiss Skydiver and Speech, and now she catches another one in Gamin. But this outside post position works to Rosario's advantage. He can leave. He can sit off the other 2 if need be. Let's watch the Ashland. I couldn't find the excuse, Mike, other than maybe the distance, and that Speech is just a better horse than she is. She made an easy, uncontested lead. She went 24 for the first quarter. It is a short stretch at 1 1/16 at Keeneland, and Speech is just too good for her.
Yeah, I mean, she went down tamely in this race, too. She didn't even really fight for it. It just feels like the distance races don't do anything for her. I don't think she likes it, Dan. Her fantasy was a little better. She fought harder in that race, but she just doesn't want to go that far. The cutback is exactly what she wants. And I'll tell you what, she's really fast early, too. So if Rosario decides to take this race to Gamin, she's fast enough to do it. It'll be interesting to see how they decide to play it because she has a lot of talent, this horse.
Let's take a look at our top picks for the Grade 1 test. Listen, I don't want to tell everybody that I'm waiting and dying to bet against Gamin in here, but I'm intrigued by Mrs. Danvers' upside, and I do think there's going to be some hitting in this Grade 1 race. I can't imagine that Venetian Harbor and Wicked Whisper are just going to let Gamin walk on the front end. So maybe Mrs. Danvers and Shug from the back of the pack at a big price, but obviously Gamin's the horse to beat.
Yeah, I did put Gamin on top. I agree with you. I thought Mrs. Danvers was the interesting other horse in the race. I didn't have the guts to put her on top. I put her second, but I think she's going to run well in here.
3-5-6-1 for me, 5-3-6-1 for Mike. Let's see how Gamin does in the Grade 1 test. Race 10 at Saratoga on Travers Saturday. Approximate post 5:39 Eastern. Good luck.